Have you ever felt a surge of anger and immediately thought, I shouldn't feel this way? Do you push it down? Do you hide it? Or feel guilty for even having it? What if that anger wasn't something to suppress, but a messenger trying to show you something important about your life, your boundaries, and your truth? Today, we're going to explore exactly that. I will talk about how anger can be your ally, not your enemy, why it shows up, what it's really telling you. Plus, I'm going to give you a practical ways to listen so that energy can move freely and guide you toward liberation and alignment. Before we dive in, I wanted to let you know that today's episode is a from the vault conversation. Every now and then, especially now in this season where I am not in Miami, I am actually in Puerto Rico, spreading my mother's ashes into the ocean. Yes, this is why I'm revisiting this episode because some messages are simply timeless. And this was one episode that I wanted to bring back. And while my language and framework have evolved since I first recorded this, the heart of what I share here is just as relevant today. If you've been feeling more emotionally triggered lately or wondering why the same patterns keep showing up, I have a feeling this conversation will meet you exactly where you are. I hope you enjoy this episode. If you're tired of feeling stuck, disconnected, or held back by old beliefs, and you're ready to start living in alignment with your deepest values, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Michelle Marie, spiritual neurocoach, cancer survivor, and twin mompreneur. On Rewired to Align, I share the neuroscience and spiritual practices that help me transform my own life, guiding you to release limiting beliefs, rewire your mind, and step fully into your sovereignty. Are you ready to live in alignment with who you truly are? Let's rewire, align, and manifest. Welcome to the podcast, friend. Welcome back to Rewire to Align. My name is Michelle Marie, and I am your favorite spiritual neurocoach. And every Tuesday, we learn new ways to live a life in alignment. How are you doing? I'm so excited, friend, because tomorrow I will be live with you on the free workshop, and I am hoping that you sign up. And if you haven't signed up, please go to the link in the show notes and do so because it's going to be transformational and we're going to be together IRL in real life. And it's going to be great. You're going to start creating your life from a place of alignment instead of desperation or confusion or being stuck. So make sure to join. Okay, now let's talk about what we're here for, which is anger. And I want to share something that has come up over and over with my clients when they go through my Align Method framework. And when my clients enter the awareness stage, they often start noticing suppressed emotions like anger, frustration, resentment. And many feel guilty for feeling these emotions, and some of them get stuck replaying old stories, thinking there is something wrong with them. But here's the truth, friend. Anger is not the problem. Anger is energy in motion, trying to move through the body. And it's a big communicator. It's trying to communicate something important. And I've watched my clients learn to meet that energy with curiosity, and they experience a big shift. They stop being reactive, they release old patterns easier, and they step more fully into alignment with who they truly, truly are. And this is the kind of emotional liberation that we aim for in my signature framework, which is the Align Method. And the beauty of releasing anger and all those pent up emotions that you may be holding on to is that it cultivates greater compassion, not only for yourself, but also for the people in your life. When you observe your story from a third point of view, you gain clarity and insight because you're releasing yourself from the story, right? You're looking at it from like a crane. from a third point of view. And what this does is that you can see clearly and create a fresh perspective that helps you move forward with emotional freedom and aligned action. And this is very important if you want to create a life that is truly authentic with who you are. Now, let's talk about anger and societal conditioning because you and I are in this beautiful earth here. And you know how it is. We're always trying to fit in into society since we were born. Since we were born. That's why we have to go back peeling those layers off. Society has taught us that anger is bad, is unacceptable, or something you have to hide. When you were growing up, you were always told things like, don't get upset, or just be nice. At least in my time, I was told sometimes to do that. And you, I bet that you that you have heard those words before. And I get it. It sounds harmless, but here's the thing. When we keep emotions bottled up, they don't disappear, friend. Emotions are energy in motion. They need to be felt, they need to be expressed, and they need to be released. If we don't let that energy move, what happens? It gets stuck. And suddenly, we're not only feeling the physical results of it, but we're spinning in loops of frustration, of resentment. Then we self sabotage. Have you ever felt like this? When was the last time that you felt like this? And then we wonder, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why do I feel like my shoulders are killing me? My lower back is killing me. And my stomach, it doesn't feel good. That's what's happening. You probably have pent up energy. And then we go crazy in our head wondering why we self sabotage or feel this resistance in our body. And it's all those pent up emotions that we have not had the chance to release. And it goes deeper, right? When you start doing the work. So here's what's happening in your brain when anger shows up. It lights up your amygdala. Do you remember the amygdala? The part of your brain that is like the alarm system and it's sending energy to protect you. And that energy, it's not bad. It's actually trying to keep you safe. That's what it learned. But the problem is when we push anger down, our nervous system starts to believe that speaking up for ourselves or setting boundaries is not safe. And what happens is the energy then gets stuck. But if we pause and we notice what's happening and actually let that energy move, our prefrontal cortex kicks in and it helps us regulate and stay in control and turn that raw energy into conscious, intentional action. So, friend, next time you feel anger, what are you going to do? You're not going to start yapping like a dog or going all dysregulated crazy, right? You're going to pause, friend. You're going to pause. You're going to breathe. You're going to breathe. Now let's talk about the spiritual and energetic perspective of anger. And this one can go two ways. If you left your anger unchecked, what happens is that it can cloud judgment, right? It can block inner peace and it keeps us disconnected from our true selves. And have you ever been in that situation? Let me tell you, the week before last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I don't remember. However, I am a human being, right? And even though I practice this, I think 95% and 99% of the time, there's always that 1%, 5%, or 10% that we have to, that you go a little dysregulated, even though you know and you teach this. That's what happened to me. A couple of weeks ago, I got angry and I snapped. It clouded my judgment completely. And I had to take a pause after to say sorry, And if I should have taken the pause at that moment when I was with my friends, this wouldn't have happened. However, it's okay. I learned. I took the pause after. I inquire myself. I honor it. I felt it. I release it. And then I asked for forgiveness. Thank you very much. But if instead of doing that, I would have honored it at that moment, what happens is that anger, when you honor it, it becomes a signal. It becomes your guide. It's pointing you to injustice. It highlights where boundaries have been crossed and showing us areas in need of healing and in need of growth. In this way, it's not just an emotion to suppress, it's a spiritual tool that can motivate action, empower change, and deepen self awareness, which is what we are here for. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to dive into how anger connects to your shadow and inner child work. And I'm going to also share a simple practice you can use to listen to and integrate this energy. However, I want to remind you that if you listen to October's episodes, there's a lot of shadow work and there's a lot of inner child work that maybe you want to go back and listen to those episodes so you know what I'm talking about and you're not listening here like going like, what is she talking about? Just go back, do the flows that I give you. Trust me, you're gonna feel much, much better. And also, before we move forward, let me ask you at this moment, how are you feeling? Are you feeling stuck, misaligned? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling pent up emotions that need to be released? If so, if you answer yes to any of these questions, join me tomorrow, friend. I'm going to be live. I'm going to be live in Facebook. I'm going to be live in Zoom at noon tomorrow, November 12th. It's going to be online, the workshop that I mentioned in the beginning of the episode. And it's going to be 1 hour, maybe a little over an hour because I know how I am. But we're going to explore simple and powerful tools to release what's holding you back and create space for what truly lights you up. And it's the same tools that I've been using throughout my life, the same tools that I have studied. So you want to grab your spot now and you want to start imagining what is possible for you in this very moment, in the moment that you get aligned. I'm going to leave the link in the show notes. And you know what? If you have a friend that also wants to do this work, bring them in because accountability buddies are a great way to transform and it makes the experience stronger. Okay, let's continue with anger and our inner child and shadow. When you're working with inner child and shadow, anger often comes from a protector part. And I don't know if I have mentioned here the different parts but that live within us, but I love internal family systems. I will leave the book in my Amazon storefront and you can look for that in my show notes. But our internal family systems, it's composed of different parts. One of them is the protector part, and that's the part of you that it steps in to defend your inner child when you feel hurt, unseen, or unsafe. I want you to think of it like a guardian trying to keep you safe, even if its way of doing that sometimes shows up as anger. Let me give you an example here. Think of when you were a child. If someone dismissed your feelings as a child, your protector might show up now as anger. And whenever you feel ignored or disrespected, it comes in. It's that surge of energy saying, I won't let that happen again, even if the situation is different today from the childhood experience. Do you understand? It's like it's a protector. Does this example ring a bell in your life? Because we all have these different parts of ourselves that live within us. Anger can also highlight shadow aspects. And the shadow aspects, if you remember, are the parts of yourself that you hide or denied or judged over time. And these shadow parts often carry pain and fear or unmet needs that are ready to be acknowledged. For instance, a good example here is that you might feel a sudden flare of anger when someone criticizes you. Have you been there? That anger could be pointing to a shadow part that's been carrying feelings of not being good enough or feelings of rejection, and a part that you might have ignored or judged in yourself for years. You see where I'm going with this? As you allow the energy of anger to move, and you're going to let it move through breath, through voice, movement, or simply noticing it, what happens is that your inner child starts feeling seen, your protector relaxes, and your shadow aspects begin to integrate. Because remember, you cannot become whole if you forget a part of you. And this is not about eliminating anger, it's about listening, it's about releasing and reclaiming all parts of yourself. This is one of the most powerful ways, friend, to break free from emotional loops, to fully integrate your energy and to step into a deeper sense of alignment and personal empowerment. And this is exactly what I work on with my clients in my coaching container. The goal that I have with them is to create an aligned, empowered life. But if we have all this energy stuck inside, anger, frustration, or any other suppressed emotion, we're not creating from alignment. We're creating from a dysregulated state. And what often happens is that the results we manifest are not sustainable. Has this happened to you that you're not able to sustain what you manifest? Because it has happened to me before. I can tell you many stories there, especially when I was younger, obviously. For example, you might push for a big career goal out of frustration or pressure, your pressure, but because you have underlying anger or tension and it has not been released, what happens is that you burn out or you hit repeated obstacles instead of building something that truly flows with your energy. Another example I can give you, and this one you're going to love it because it's very present nowadays, especially with my single people that I love you and I appreciate you, is love. And I've been there. I've been there before. For example, you're alone, right? And you want to manifest a romantic relationship, but because you feel lonely or insecure, and maybe there's unreleased anger or resentment or old emotional wounds that are deep underneath, right? What's going to happen is that you may attract partners that look good in the books, but are going to start triggering the same patterns that you have. And instead of creating a loving aligned connection, what you end up with is in a cycle of conflict and a short lived relationship. Why, friend? Why? Because the energy you're creating from is out of alignment. That's why alignment brings sustainability. So now that you've heard all of this, I'm guessing you're not just reflecting right now in your head, oh my God, but you're probably asking yourself, okay, Michelle, that's very cool. I love what you're saying, but how do I actually work with this? How do I transform and work with this energy? So I'm going to give you a little flow. However, what you're going to do now is go look for pen and paper. Look for pen and paper, pause me, look for pen and paper, come back. When you come back, this is the 5 steps you are going to use to honor and release anger. And even though I'm calling them steps, I want you to think it more like a flow that you can use anytime anger or any other pent up emotion shows up. And friend, I'm going to be very clear. Let me give you the disclaimer. At first, especially if you're starting, it might feel challenging, especially in situations that you're going to be triggered, that your nervous system is going to get triggered into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Okay? And it's normal. You're starting. Eventually, like when you have done this a couple of times, because remember, the brain loves repetition and consistency is key, then you're going to be able to do it right then and there. So, taking a pause to do this flow, yes, it can feel hard, But I promise you, friend, if you practice it, you're going to feel lighter and calmer, and you're going to rewire your brain. You're going to create those new neural pathways that are going to help you move toward alignment. And let me tell you, once you start stepping fully into alignment, what's happening? What's alignment? That congruence between your thoughts, emotion, and actions, right? So what's going to happen? It's going to create coherence in your energy. And when your energy is coherent, it naturally starts amplifying your magnetism, and you're going to start bringing to yourself exactly what you desire. And that's what we want in life, right? To bring to us what we desire. And this is what I've been teaching you throughout the podcast episodes. So let's explore this flow. The number one thing you're going to do is you're going to pause and name it. And you're going to say, I feel anger. I feel anger. This simple practice, believe it or not, activates awareness and reduces reactivity. And a quick tip here that I was mentioning to my client yesterday was to not say I am angry. Don't say that. Don't say I'm angry, because when you use the word am, you let the feeling define you. And feelings do not define you. They are energy in motion. By saying I feel, you're shifting your perspective and you're giving the emotion space to move freely through you. You release it. Okay? So pause it and name it. I feel anger. The second thing you're going to do is that you're going to move your energy. You're going to walk. You're going to shake. You're going to vocalize. Let the anger or the emotion that you're feeling at the moment flow through your body. And this isn't the regulation part yet. It's just about releasing the stuck energy. Later, when you pause, breathe, and bring awareness back to your body, that's when your nervous system begins to regulate. Move the energy, walk it, shake it, vocalize it. Number 3, ask the emotion. Ask it, what boundary or need is being honored here? Or what are you trying to show me? Or what do you need? You have to self-inquire yourself. I'm being redundant, but you have to have that self-inquiry, right? You have to take a brief moment to check in, because when you check in, this allows you to truly listen to your inner self and discover what the emotion is trying to communicate. The number 4 thing you're going to do is you're going to journal or record it. So you're going to let the anger speak freely. You're not going to judge it. And then you're going to use a journal, especially when you're starting this process. And when you write it down, what's going to happen is that you can really create the awareness of what is happening. And you're going to discover those deeper wounds that need to be worked on. And you're going to gain insight into what the emotion is really trying to tell you. And number 5, and the last one, is that you're going to regulate afterward. For example, after feeling and expressing anger, you might notice that your chest, right, still feels tight. What you're going to do is that you're going to pause, take a few slow breaths, and you're going to place a hand on your heart and your belly, and you can say to yourself, it's safe for me to feel this. I am okay. It is safe for me to feel this. I am okay. And this is going to help your nervous system settle and bring your energy back into calm and alignment. And let me tell you, friend, these steps are going to allow anger to do its job as energy in motion, right? Moving through the body, and guide you toward embodied liberation, which is what we want. We want to release this energy. We don't want to live with any pent-up emotions. We want to be clear as we can when we are creating and manifesting and creating our desired life. So this is your practice this week. These 5 steps that in reality are a flow. And I know that if you're triggered by your partner, significant other, by your parents, by your best friend, by your boss, I understand, friend, that this can be a little challenging to do, but I want you to at least do one thing from this list. At least pause. At least one thing, the first thing, which is pause and naming what you're feeling at the moment. If you feel frustration, I feel frustration. I feel anger. I feel sadness. I feel whatever it is that you're feeling. Pause. Because at least one step is going to start getting you and moving you into the practice. Eventually, you're going to be able to do the 5 steps. And you know what? The number 4 step, which is the journaling, you don't even probably have to do it because you're moving so fast that you already know what deeper wound it's being emphasized or highlighted. And remember, this is not about perfection. It's about building awareness, going into alignment, and creating a coherence that is going to help you, okay? And if you do this, remember to share your insights with me. I want to know how this practice works for you. You can share by sending me a message or tagging me on my favorite hangout, which is Instagram, and my handle is at Michelle Maripacheco. And I love reading your messages, so make sure that we are connected. And let me remind you that anger is not your enemy, friend. It's your messenger, it's your guide, and it's your ally. You have to see it this way. And when you allow it to move and to speak, it's going to point you to your boundaries. It's going to point you to your inner needs and your personal power. And if you want to explore this further, why don't you come into my coaching container where I guide you through my Align Method framework? Or maybe you can come tomorrow live at noon to the Step into Alignment workshop where we will be releasing all this energy, integrating emotions, and stepping fully into alignment. And it's completely free and online, so you don't have to be IRL. IRL meaning in real life. Now what I want you to do is to take a deep breath and reflect. Where in your life have you silenced anger? What is it trying to tell you? I want you to have that awareness. Imagine meeting it with curiosity rather than resistance. Feel it, honor it, allow the energy to move. Your protector and your inner child finally are going to be heard. And this is the first step to embodied liberation and aligned living. Okay, beautiful soul. This is the end of the episode. I'm not going to hold you back any longer. If this resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and share your reflections below. And this is for my YouTube subscribers. And if you are listening on Apple Podcast or any other listening platform, remember to share with your friends and family this episode. Anger is energy seeking expression. When you honor it and allow it to move, you release what's stuck and reconnect with your truth. Your energy shifts as you acknowledge and integrate it, creating space for clarity, personal power, and emotional freedom. The more you listen to anger, the more aligned and whole you become from the inside out. I'm sending you love. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I love creating it. If what you heard today resonated with you, the best way to support the show is by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback helps me continue creating content that empowers you and deepens your spiritual connection. Just scroll down to write a review and share your thoughts. And if you love what Rewire to Align is about, share it with your friends and family. I truly believe the world transforms when we come together to create positive change. I look forward to be with you again next week.